This is the Borla S-Type catback exhaust, and it should appeal to the 2024 and newer non-active exhaust GT owners out there who might be after a solid increase in volume over the factory system and would prefer to get an extremely nice 304 grade stainless build. Now, this made in the USA system will feature mandrel bent tubing throughout, 3 inches to be exact, along with the included X-pipe and S-type mufflers, all exiting out of these beautiful black tips for just north of that $2,000 price point. All right, let's get right into the sound you can expect with the S-Type catback bolted up, and guys, it's a good one, at least to my ears. In fact, the S-Type is one of my perennial favorites here on the site when it comes to the Coyote-powered Mustang, and has been for many, many years. Now, the S-Type muffler specifically is going to deliver a good amount of volume, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, one of my favorite things about this system is that it's not too crazy, it's not too loud, and it still maintains a nice deep tone overall, which isn't always easy on the traditionally raspy Coyote. So what does this all mean? Well, let's break out the old Wake the Neighbor scale, guys, where I have the S-Type coming in at a soft 4 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Now, regardless of overall volume, just a massive improvement over the factory exhaust in regards to tone. Still aggressive, but again, not over the top. Now, if you did want to be louder overall, then, I would absolutely recommend Borla's Attack system. On the other hand, that is going to get a 5 out of 5 all day on my Wake the Neighbor scale. Now, getting back to the in-car experience here at the Borla, and as you might expect with these more premium exhaust systems, the Borla included, very quiet in-car experience. In fact, you can kind of control the volume level with your right foot. No drone whatsoever here, and even when you are ripping on the car, yes, you hear it, but it's not really overly boomy inside the cab. So I really dig this system in many different ways, but overall the sound is right where I think you want to be, especially with the Coyote. All right, moving into construction, guys, and another big reason why I really love recommending the Borla systems in particular is the overall quality of build, quality materials, and fitment. Now, this is all stuff you should definitely factor in when spending good money on an aftermarket exhaust. Now, materials here are going to be the T304 grade stainless steel throughout for things like your 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, essentially from tip to tip here, guys. Also including the S-type mufflers. These, of course, are going to be responsible for kind of shaping that muscle car tone, but they also incorporate these little mini mufflers or resonators here right before the mufflers, kind of balance out the pulses, reduce that drone, keep it to an absolute minimum. Now, the system does also include a more traditional X-pipe, as you can see right here. We have the kickdowns to work with your factory manifolds, and then everything is going to exit out of the dual 4-inch black chrome tips in that factory location. Now, again, keep in mind, guys, this is only designed to work with the non-active exhaust GTs out there, and that's why you're not seeing the quad tips. So again, if you really want to increase the volume on your non-active GT, this is really going to be one of the most, I would say, appealing ways to do so, and it certainly is going to be a very high quality way to do so. Now, all of that quality does typically come at a cost, as the Borla exhaust systems typically are found at the higher end of the pricing spectrum, and that will be the case here with the S-Type, as it will rise above that $2,000 mark. But I've always been a big fan of that saying, you get what you pay for. Certainly is applicable here, of course, when we factor in the materials, sound, and the 1,000,000-mile warranty for the Borla S-Type. All right, last but not least, what do you say we talk install? And since this is an exhaust, and because there is a lot of work involved underneath the car, site's automatically going to kick this up to a middle of the road 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, calling it about 3 hours or so, I would say at most, to complete from start to finish. Now, to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or the driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a rubber mallet, flathead screwdriver, an extension, 15mm socket, and a 13mm swivel socket. What's up, guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our Mustang, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is come to the double flange behind our cat. We have 4 15mm bolts that we can loosen up with a 15mm socket. Now we're gonna leave this just like that for now as we work on the rest. One thing to keep in mind is when we go to pull this off, this little hook is keeping this on, so you're gonna have to get a flathead screwdriver to pull back on that on both sides when we go to remove it. Next, we can come right behind our rear diff to this hanger. There's one on each side of this bracket. There's a 13mm bolt holding it on. So I've got a 13mm swivel socket on an extension to pop this off. And now we'll just come to the other side and do the same exact thing. And now with them both removed, you can push up to get those hangers off the hooks. And do that same thing on the other side. Now, last thing we need to do before we can remove this is remove these two bolts that were on the inside of those two hangers behind the rear diff. So I'm using that same 13mm socket with an extension. Now with those removed, we can push it up off the hook and pull that down to get the clearance we need. So now I've got myself a buddy to support the weight of the rear of the exhaust while I work on the front. We're gonna push this towards the rear to disconnect these two pipes, and then we can pull it forward to pull it out of the back hangers. So now with our exhaust removed, we can take an exhaust hanger remover tool to pop off these two hangers because we will have to reuse them for our new exhaust. Now, last thing we need to pop off is our two clamps that are at the front of the exhaust. You can take a rubber mallet and get the edge of a pry bar on the edge of the clamp to tap these off. Now we're going to start off by reinstalling our two clamps, and then we can get our adapter pipes in. Slide those on, get your clip lined up with that nub, and then we'll take a rubber mallet and smack it on. And then we can get our adapters in place. And then grab your 15mm socket and tighten down your two clamps. Next we can install our X-pipe. So I'm gonna get two clamps and slide those onto those adapters we just put in. I've got a pole jack here just to support the weight of that, since we do have a flex pipe back here, until we can get our exhaust into our hangers. Line that up, slide it on. And then slide your clamps into place, and we're going to take a 15mm socket and tighten those down. Next, we're going to take another one of our clamps, slide it onto our X-pipe, and then we're going to take that rubber isolator that we removed, slide that on, and then connect your pipe and hook that up onto the frame. And then we'll throw our bolt in, tighten that down, and then go back to that clamp. So now just up close, you have that hook that's gonna go right into that hole. And then line up your bolt hole. And thread that bolt in. And then grab your 13mm swivel socket and tighten that down. Now I'm going to get my muffler slid on before we tighten that clamp on the X-pipe. So slide your clamp on, get that up into your isolator first. Connect your pipes. Then we're just going to get that tip centered up in our cutout. Now grab your 15mm socket and tighten down both your clamps. And then repeat that process for the passenger side on the other side. And now we just have to hook on this under carpet piece and reinstall those 2 bolts. And I'm just gonna pull down on the carpet just to get my tool in there and tighten those down. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Borla S-Type catback exhaust with black chrome tips for your 24 and newer Mustang GT Fastback without active exhaust. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.